are you a human being exploring spirituality, or you are a spiritual being exploring human experience? Honestly, yeah, I'm a human being and I'm searching something out. It's That's the answer I had with that limited consciousness at that time. And I understood what he meant. Absolutely, Lizzie. I still remember that moment as if I was not the same person.
Wherever the person's level of consciousness is at, what they're ready for. It was taking that small action step, but then of course the next logical move was to hand in the no. But it's so funny how we make such a big deal out of little action steps that
Yeah.
over time, they just amount to the lives that we create for ourselves. The universe cannot help but to match that frequency and help us co-create the life we truly desire. Welcome to an episode of Heart's Home. We are here for a conscious conversation with my friend Deepa Arora. Deepa is one of the most amazing humans I've ever had the pleasure of meeting in this lifetime, and I'm so excited to share our conversation today. Deepa greatly changed the trajectory of my life. And she probably doesn't even realize how much. I met Deepa in 2023 in Dubai, going there to complete a PSYCH-K workshop that my soul divinely guided me towards. And I walked out of that workshop forever altered. It was not because of something outside of me changed, but because something in me finally clicked into place. Things I had dreamed about for nearly a decade suddenly became the next obvious steps in my life. And now, just 2 years later, I'm living the dream life that I once only dreamed of. Deepa has been a mirror, a mentor, and a dear friend, a true guide on this journey. She's not only one of just 29 PSYCH-K instructors in the world, she's also the first to bring this work to the Middle East and the subcontinent. For over 15 years, Deepa has been a psychotherapist, an international speaker, and a conscious coach, walking alongside thousands of souls from all walks of life. But more than the titles or the accomplishments, Deepa is someone who lives her purpose. To her, PSYCH-K isn't just a modality, it's a way of being. A way to remember that we can rewrite our destiny by shaping the beliefs that shape our reality. This episode is an invitation to go deeper into your subconscious, into your truth, and into the possibility of real, lasting transformation. So let's dive in and welcome Deepa.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction. And I was so lost looking at you because we all mirror each other. So, this beautiful introduction was not about me, it was actually about you because you are another me. And it was really a time travel to see you glowing, giggling, and creating that reality, which is possible. And you've done it, girl. And I'm so super proud of you. Thank you very much for inviting me over, and thank you so much for this beautiful sharing. So just pour our hearts out.
Thank you so much for being here. It is my absolute pleasure to have you on the show, to have this conscious conversation with you. And I want to play a game with you.
Mhm.
We end every episode of this podcast with the conscious conversation with a game called the Cosmic Baton. And then we start the next episode with it. And so at the beginning of each episode, we pass on the cosmic baton that the last guest infused with a gift, a saying, an energy. And the previous guest infused the sentiment and the quote from a movie, what a man can do, another can, meaning what a person can do, another can.
Yeah.
And this quote to him inspires others to know what they can do, so can you, and so can anybody else. And so I wanted to just pass that cosmic baton with you so you can hold that sentiment and let it sit with you and resonate. And if you want to share anything on that now, you can. And if not, we can save it for later.
We can save it for later because I'm holding it now, right now. Yeah.
Amazing. So, welcoming you to Heart's Home. One of my favorite ways to start off these conscious conversations is to get a little bit about your journey. Our guests love to share what has inspired them along their path. And I would love to hear from you. What occurred in your spiritual awakening journey? What was it that brought you to this place that you are in now? Share with us however it resonates for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking that. So, Lizzie, as I always say this thing that, we are born extraordinary, all of us, without fail. Each one of us, each one of us means really each one of us, and then we become ordinary. Okay, so my journey is not becoming extraordinary. My journey is actually realizing that I was born extraordinary and unique, and it's just like coming home. So, as far as I remember about my childhood, about my growing up years, I was this very insecure, very vulnerable, very fearful girl who always thought that the power is in everything else, but not in me. And that led me always asking myself that I know that the power is in me, but then why I'm not being able to access that power, why I'm not being able to have that power, why I'm not being able to live with that power. So that led me to a journey of external happiness, like all of us we have, trying to find way out to be happy and to be secured and to be really in that space which we never get anywhere. And of course, I started my journey because I was in search of beauty. So I started my journey in my young age. Well, I'm still very, very young because the spirit has no age. Yeah. But I started my journey with being a fashion designer. I was a very famous, very well known designer and working with aesthetics, with colors, with fabrics. And very soon I realized that my journey is not about the trends, it's about the truth. So that's how I call it, that it's not about following the trends, it is following the truth of my inner self. And when I understood that, I absolutely took my first step in just asking that question, which is always is a $1 billion question for me. Who am I? And I always know that I'm powerful. And if I'm powerful, how do I access that power? So that led me to that quest, that search of spiritual window shopping. What we have it, and then it's like door to door, knocking at every door, coming with restlessness, coming with more conflicts, more questions, because there's nothing outside, and going through all those spiritual bypasses. And then I'm very, very fortunate that I had some very amazing masters in my life coming from the tradition of ancient wisdom. I'm an Indian by birth, and I feel very proud that I come from the land which is full of inner wisdom. And one day he asked me a question which changed my life. Just at that moment. And that question was, okay, Deepa, tell me, are you a human being exploring spirituality, or you are a spiritual being exploring human experience? And I was like, honestly, yeah, I'm a human being and I'm searching something out. It's that's the answer I had with that limited consciousness at that time. And then he looked at me and he was like, are you sure that you are a human being searching some spiritual vibes? and I understood what he meant. And that was the moment everything changed. Absolutely, Lizzie. I still remember that moment as if I was not the same person. Everything changed. I absolutely understood, realized who I am, why I am here. And I am this beautiful energy, frequency, vibration, bubbling, giggling, and having this wonderful human experience of understanding who am I. And that's how I started from.
Oh, thank you for the beautiful story and for sharing it that way. You know, when I say first, but there's no first. It's all just part of it.
Yeah.
When I was really diving deep into this journey, my was through yoga. And it was a very similar question and quote that made me go, whoa, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I remember reading it, hearing my instructor say it and going, And like I had to pause, I had to take a minute and just really be with that and think differently than I had ever thought before. And so that question is so powerful. And I think when we have that reframe and perception, we take that new perspective and we can zoom out and go, whoa. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. So the only change was I am still working with beauty, but now it's the inner beauty. For me, it's from designing garments to designing your own life, weaving the tapestry of your own life with every single thread, with every single design, and seeing how this beautiful fabric of life flows.
So beautiful.
So I'm still a designer.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What I love about you and the frequency we vibe on is that we have these similar analogies that we always use and that we share to weave the story of life. And even that in the tapestry, it's one of my favorite analogies because it's infinite and it's weaving through space and time and all of energy and creation. So thank you for creating so beautifully. Oh. So I wanted to ask you, when and how did you begin the process of walking as a soulpreneur? And so I talk about the soulpreneur journey, meaning it's a little bit different than the regular entrepreneur journey because it's coming from the soul-led self. And so I would love to share for you to share what your path has been and how you knew to answer the calling of your soul.
Absolutely. I love the word soulpreneur. So that sounds really nice. And the difference between the entrepreneur and soulpreneur is, are we doing the external work or the internal work? Although, Lizzie, I don't look at it as in separation of internal or external, because anything what we do externally, if it comes from the internal awareness, so there is no external. So there's that oneness. So ideally, every entrepreneur is a soulpreneur, because that's the only way to get into something, because the success is there. So for me, becoming the soulpreneur, or where I am today, was not a goal. It was not a destination that I wanted to achieve, because I pretty much understood that I'm on a journey and this is an outcome. And I'm still on a journey. So I'm on a journey of being aware of myself. I always say this thing, that I'm not sure whether I'm in search of some higher realms or God, divine, whatever you may call it. But I'm sure here on a journey which is to serve my own self. That's what I realized. It's a journey to serve your own self with all those powers which exist in us, and having the courage to bring forth those powers and know who am I. So while I took that path of self-awareness, I'm refraining the word self-realization, because that also sometimes becomes too heavy for me, because it's like these words are used so much out there. And then no, I'm not on any self-realization journey. I just want to be very aware of myself. I want to be so aware of that I'm not all of my conditionings, beliefs, my religion, my culture, my country, but I'm way bigger than that. So while I was on this journey, and as I realized this is who I am, I wanted to serve others also. And I wanted to be of some service to everybody, not in a very formal way, because as I said, that all that is a privilege what I do today, being a Psych-K instructor and facilitating Psych-K, but it's an outcome of that space which absolutely comes from unconditional love and service. And I always go back to, again, that one of the most beautiful learning of my life, that you are most powerful when others feel power in your presence. You don't need to do something. Your very presence provides that space that others feel so empowered. So if I had any goal, this is, and this was my goal, that how can I serve where others come into their own powers in my presence? You know,
Well,
it's
you're doing it amazingly. You do it
yeah,
by being you. It's perfect.
exactly. So that's exactly is the word, that I'm just being myself, whether it's a soulpreneur or what I do, because I feel that I don't even do anything. I just be, and the magic happens.
Magic, aren't you? We all
Yeah,
are.
absolutely.
Oh, that's so fun. I could just listen to you for hours and just
because because you're listening to yourself. Yeah.
I would love for you to share more about this. I 100% understand this idea of oneness, this idea we are all mirrors to each other. We are all of the same source.
Hmm.
For people who might be newer to this concept of oneness, would you be able to share with us what you mean when you say things like I am in service to you, you are a reflection of me, all of these things? Would you share with us from your very beautiful vantage point so that the audience can have this new perspective?
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for bringing it to the 3D level, because most of the time that we're like here, and we live in this beautiful body. And so it's beautiful to, I'm very glad that you asked this. All right. So it just goes back, Lizzie, to my journey of that search and trying to understand who am I. And of course, I started my journey with learning a lot of processes and modalities, and where, with all due respect, I could really help myself and I could help others. And that became a question to me, that how it is about helping others and fixing others, whichever processes and modality, just name it. I have learned lots of them from the best of the schools in the world. But everything eventually was going back into, I was having a beautiful practice of therapy, and I was very well known, and I started to have a lot of ego. So, of course, it's my journey of crashing and dissolving the ego, that I can fix and I can heal. And when the ego stands tall, that others do not know, I know better, others cannot heal, I am the one who is going to heal them or fix them. that is a journey of separation. Okay. So it's very important for us that before we know what is light, the other side of the light is dark. So that's why I'm answering you. The journey of oneness starts from the journey of separation. If you've not understood the pain of separation, if you've not understood how ego plays with you, or there is no oneness, we are still intellectualizing the question of oneness. So I was very much on a journey of separation. I can heal others, I can fix others, and again, going back to my roots and the ancient wisdom, I had this unexplainable restlessness. The more I was good in my work, I was getting name, fame, claim, everything. This restlessness was growing more and more, which just led me to find out what is not happening right with me. Why this is, and this is a space which is very unexplainable. I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. I'm doing very well. Everybody is applauding and praising about me. Oh, Deepa is so good. You go for a therapy with her. She knows this, she knows that. And that became a problem. And I transitioned to the journey of oneness, dissolving the illusion of separation. And that led me to a very beautiful story very quickly, which I'm going to tell you. There's a revered master from India. His name is Ramana Maharishi. A lot of even the Western world, everybody knows about him. So once there was a disciple who went up to him and asked that, Master, I've gained a lot of knowledge and I've really understood compassion, unconditional love, and everything. Now I just want to know from you that if you could guide me, how do I help others? And how do I love others? And the master just smiled and said, but who are others? Because there is no other. So I understood that each one of us is very empowered. Each one of us is very unique. And each one of us is absolutely connected with that inner wisdom. When we go on a journey of fixing, healing, and making others realize that we are more powerful than them, then you just rob them of their inner wisdom. You are of no service to anybody. You are only in service to your own ego. And I was not serving. I was only serving my own ego. And I'm very thankful to that restlessness. I'm very thankful to that space which never let me rest, because it's a dangerous space. And then I transitioned to this beautiful knowing, understanding that there are no others, and coming back to you are most powerful when you allow others to know that they have got everything to heal themselves. They've got everything inside them to take care of themselves. You could just be providing that space. You could be just holding that space, because it's not only providing, it's holding that space, not only for them, for your own self also. Serving yourself and serving others. So oneness is when you become that fragrance which is just fragrant, and everybody around you, inclusive of you, is being able to have that fragrance. So I again go back to that one knowing where my revered master again told me, why don't you just become like a sandalwood? You get sandalwood in the forest of India. So sandalwood is a wood which has got fragrance in it. It is innate to it. You don't need to do anything. And he said, you just become the sandalwood and know that everybody around you is a sandalwood. And together, collectively, you magnify the fragrance. It's like how you have a stick of a Palo Santo. I know you're very fond of that. And that one stick versus putting a lot of them together, and you're like that, oh, the room smells so nice. So oneness, how I understand is, and the way I understand it, when you allow others to come into their powers, that is unconditional love for me. When you look at others as very wise beings, as very empowered beings as you are, and then you just magnify the circle of wisdom, oneness, unconditional love. So thankfully, thanks to my stars and thanks to my restlessness, I very beautifully transitioned from the journey of serving ego to serving my higher self, to serve my divine self. And that's what I'm doing. Serving myself with what I do, psyche, facilitating, teaching, because it's empowering. It's extremely empowering. And that led me, with due respect, to leave everything and anything I knew before. Of course, that has given me a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom, but it was a journey of unlearning for myself. I unlearned the ways of ego and I learned the ways of oneness, absolutely dissolving the illusion of separation. And I'm still on the same journey because it's an ever evolving process. As much as we talk of, I'm done, oh, ego is very clever. It just creeps in from here and there, everywhere. And then you need to be very watchful. That's why I use the word awareness. That's why I use the word, as long as you are aware of who you are, everything is manageable.
That's
As long as you are not in a slumber sleep, you are awake. Yes, we all slip. We all get into the zones of misalignment and working with ourselves. But do you know? Are you aware? That is what we need to know. And
yeah.
remember that $1 million psyche question: how are things with you? How are you feeling? Where are you? What is going on? And that's a beautiful way of knowing yourself. Where are you?
The way you share, it's so deep. There's so many levels and layers and little truth nuggets in everything that you say. And I love that we can have these really like expansive conversations that for those who are meant to hear that zoomed out perspective are going to resonate with those bits. And the other parts where people need that more grounded, tangible,
Yeah,
it also sinks in.
absolutely. Yeah. So to make it even more precise, and that, so the journey of oneness for me is where you empower yourself and where you empower others.
Perfect. That's
It's simple.
Yes, and I love the simple. Oh, let's talk a little bit more about psyche, shall we?
Okay.
This beautiful modality that I know you love, I love. It's why we know each other and why we are together. For someone hearing about psyche for the first time and been around here a while, it's not the first time because I speak about it often.
True.
But somebody's just tuning in for the first time. What is it really? What psyche, and how is it different from traditional mindset work like affirmation or talk therapy or even other healing modalities? What separates psyche and what makes it so magical for you?
Super beautiful. Okay. So again, the magic is in you, but how do we access to that magic? And psyche makes you have an access to that magic, which is really in you, but how? Before we talk about psyche, let's talk about, we all know so much about quantum physics. We all know so much about the study of epigenetic. There's so much of work which Dr. Bruce Lipton has done, that we have the power even to change the expression of our genes. So in a way that if you've got something coming from your lineage and from your genetic expression, it could be hypertension, it could be obesity, or it could be diabetes or anything else. So our regular general way of thinking about it is, oh, because my father had this or my grandfather had this, I'm also going to have. But the studies which have been done by Dr. Bruce Lipton and by a lot of other scientists also absolutely bring it to the level that the power is within us. The kind of messages we send it to our genes, because there is a receptor on the membrane of the cell, and there is a signal which goes from the subconscious mind. And according to the quality of the signal, a particular genes can choose to express itself this way or that way. How powerful is that? So it means that if I choose that, okay, it's fine that this is a disease which my father had or which my grandfather had, but I choose the other way around. The power is in me. Then the genes chooses to stay dormant and to express itself in the other way. Having said that, this is how everything works, and that is the power of the subconscious mind, because our life doesn't run with our tiny bitty little bit of egocentric 5% conscious mind. It runs on an autopilot with all the data, with all the information it has saved in the subconscious mind, which is the unconscious mind, not pretty much known by everybody. And we think we are intelligent people and we are just running our life by ourselves, whereas it's on autopilot. A lot of beliefs, a lot of conditionings, a lot of perceptions, they come from wherever, not getting too much into it. We all have our family upbringings, our culture, our countries, our religion, people around us, the environment, genetics. So who are we? Going back to that question, who are we? By the age of 7, 8, or 9, we are already done. We are made. Going back to a beautiful statement by Dr. Bruce Lipton, bring me a guy, a boy of 7, and I will show you a man of 70. Because actually, your subconscious mind is like a sponge. It has absorbed all beliefs, all conditions, all perception, and it is not on an autopilot. You could be highly educated, you could be really a Harvard topper or an Oxford gold medalist. You still could be battling with something. Oh, but how do I do more? How to prove it to other people that I am good enough? Because deep inside there is a belief I'm not good enough. So are you actually living your intelligence, or you are on a journey of proving, validating, doing all the hard work and not even knowing that your education doesn't give you peace and success? It is your beliefs, because your education only tells you how to fend for yourself. You could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, you could be a scientist, but are you really successful? Because for me, the success is how integrated and how peaceful you are with your own self. So all self-sabotaging beliefs, everything comes from there. So this is the signs that we are on autopilot. And if we need to change the printout of our life, that's the analogy we give all the time, we need to work with the software. When we work with affirmations, when we work with meditations, when we work with therapy, because I work with all, and with due respect, these are all great tools. Not necessarily the tools to do the real transformations, because the transformations happen in the subconscious mind. And we need to be in a state, what we call is a whole brain state. That is a requisite for us to have a sustainable change in the subconscious mind. So Psyche is a beautiful process with which we can reprogram and rewire our limiting beliefs into life-enhancing beliefs. We can transform the perceptions which are unhealthy, which are fearful, which are stressful. We can implant more beautiful beliefs, more life-enhancing beliefs. So psyche is a spiritual process having psychological, mental, emotional, physical benefits, because everything is a belief. Your body, how it is all because what kind of beliefs you have. Your mind, howsoever it is, it's just displaying the thoughts. Thoughts come from where? They come from beliefs. So when you tell someone, but you should, Lizzie, you should think very positive. Life is very beautiful. All is so good. Look at this universe. Universe is so giving. No, but I don't have this belief. I have a belief that I I feel abandoned, or I feel the universe is partial, or I feel I'm not good enough. So, how do I help with myself with all these positive affirmations? So, there has to be an alignment. Beliefs are the root from where the thoughts come. And from thoughts, the words come. From words, the feelings, emotions, behaviors come. And actions or non actions come. So when we work with psyche, Lizzie, we don't work with the tree, we work with the forest. So it is the health of the forest, which is the health of every aspect of your life. So it could be any area of your life, because a lot of times people ask me, but okay, but does psyche help with this? Does psyche help with this? Again, common sense, intelligent question. Be it any area of your life. It could be personal power, it could be relationships, it could be health, it could be anything. Behind your challenge, behind whatever you're struggling with, is a belief. So with psyche, with ease, with very much ease, because again, why I'm so passionate about psyche is there is a conditioning that to do the self transformational work, there is a lot of struggle you need to do. You don't always need to go to the top of the mountain, or you need to choose the highest peak of the mountain and do what? Psyche is easy. Psyche is simple. And again, going back to the science, easy and simple is most effective. This is the journey of my life, because ego gets power when you do complex things, when you struggle, when you tell yourself, oh, see, this is the kind of time I've spent with myself, how much of time I have taken to change this. Not really. You can be kind to yourself. You can work with yourself with ease and peace. Psyche is easy, simple, effective. Um, it is a very beautiful protocol. Uh, and we can just change our beliefs. I'm not going to teach psyche, or I'm not going to tell how does it work. For that, we do have the psyche basic workshop, but the powers are within you. Psyche is not healing, psyche is not fixing. When you work with the facilitator, you are a facilitator, I am a psyche facilitator, I teach and I facilitate both. The basic principle is the principle of oneness. I hold the space where your wisdom comes. I hold the space where the wisdom of psyche comes through. I hold the space where my wisdom comes, because you have all the wisdom. So psyche at one hand is based on the ancient wisdom, and on the other, the study of whole brain or split brain. We work with the muscle test. It's absolutely rooted in science, everything. So for me, it's like, oh my God, it was homecoming for me.
Oh, it's so good. Wait, what you just said there, particularly, it was homecoming, because I remember the moment that I was reading Dr. Bruce Lipton's book, The Biology of Belief, the 10th edition.
Mhm.
I like that version because it gives a little flashback from 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And I remember reading the book and being like, they're doing what I'm doing, but they seem to have like a process that streamlines it. Because I was already using muscle testing with all the work that I was doing and all these different.
Mhm.
When I read it, I was like, okay, if they've got it figured out and these people really like scientists, they know what they're doing, let me go and learn this modality. And Psych-K is just such a beautiful distillation, let's say, of all of these modalities, all of these ways, all of these principles that we know to be true from
Yeah.
different walks of life.
May I? Yeah, sorry to cut it because it's a beautiful word comes to me. I feel psyche is like a refined wine. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a
Yeah.
refined wine. Yeah.
And it really is. It's just so potent and so beautiful. And,
Mhm.
you know, what I love about Psyche is that it's like so simple, so
Yeah.
efficient, effective. And it's like no fluff, yet at the same time, there's all the beautiful whimsy and the
Yeah.
magic. And I love that about Psyche so much. I would love if you would just share a little bit more about, you mentioned the whole brain state and the opposite of that, the unintegrated brain, perhaps. I don't remember the word you used exactly. But if
Okay.
you share a little bit about that so that people can have an understanding of like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I'm not just going to go much into detail because everything what you've asked, of course, that's what we do in the Psyche Basic workshop, and I teach that. But just in a simple way, let me just take you let me just take you back to your childhood. Let's say when you're born, and whether you are born Indian or Italian or French or Arabic. Does anybody teach you your mother tongue, or you just do you go to the school to speak those, the primitive, what you call is the primordial language, you call it your mother tongue? If you're born in Italy, you will learn how to speak in Italian. If you're born in India, you will know how to speak in Indian. So do we go to the school to learn that, or we just learn it by ourselves? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because from the age of what we call is 0 to 7, we are in a state, because the brain, what we call in a layman's language as brain, is not actually one, it is two. We have the right side and the left side of the brain, and they are connected with each other, where the communication happens. And when we are when we are like a child, we are in a fast learning mode, which is we are in a whole brain state where both the hemispheres are communicating with each other. But as we grow up and the drama of life takes on, the conditionings, perceptions, limiting beliefs, so from the whole brain, we actually become split brain. We start to use one aspect, or what we call is the one part of the brain as our leading way. And when we become split brain, it's not possible for us to have sustainable changes. Because to have sustainable changes, we need to be in that absorption state, like a sponge, like how we were when we were children. So, Psyche, when we do work with Psyche, we create that same state, what we call is the whole brain state, not getting too much into detail so that we can learn it in a proper way, where you are like a child in a fast learning mode. And whatever you implant as a new beautiful belief, it stays there forever. And then you connect it with the action, because the subconscious mind creates the potential. It is the actions which take us forward. So the requisite, Lizzie, to have sustainable changes is that we need to be in a particular state, what is called is the whole brain state.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. It's beautiful. And also, everybody who's like, "Ooh, I want to know more." Really, learning Psyche is such a great place to start, to continue to whatever part of your journey you're on.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I highly recommend learning with Deepa. It is I haven't learned with too many other people. Deepa and Ducho, thankfully, have been my mentors, and I'm so blessed. And I just know that you teach it with such integrity and with such with your grounded mysticism that I so appreciate.
Thank you. As we always say, Lizzie, each one of us, we all operate dissolving the illusion of any separation. All of us in I feel very privileged and honored that I represent Psyche in this part of the world. But the whole idea is that each one of us, we have our own flavor, but it is all about unconditional love, and it's all about oneness. We are all trained in the same way. We all reflect the originator of Psyche, Rob William, and deep inside, the core of each one of us is oneness.
So true.
Yeah.
I would love if you could share a moment where Psyche created an instant or unexpected breakthrough, whether it was for you or for a client. And I mean, I know these stories are like kind of miracles, but just share one of your favorites if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So it happened pretty much right there in the Psyche Basic workshop when I was a participant like you. So I was in London, and again, I was used to very different kind of learning where the powers are not handed over, where you keep the powers because you inflate the ego. And here I am unlearning everything, and I'm learning how to hand over the powers, and it's not an easy process. So I was having a kind of a struggle and a tough time with my own self. And I used to work a lot with shamanism, and I always knew that there is an inner shaman, and I am a shaman. And here comes the moment where there was a word which was written on the board by my instructor, and it's a Psyche word. It's called isumatak. Yeah, it is not an English word, and isumatak is that word which translates as that you are the keeper of that sacred space in which wisdom is revealed. And that's all you need to know, and everything else happens. I literally burst into tears because I knew that's what a shaman does. That's what I knew, that, the shaman doesn't fix you or heal you. He just holds the space so that you can access all that information which is needed for you to do whatever you want to do, what you need to do. It was a moment of literally, I felt whole and complete in my own self for the first time. I may have said it before, but it was never. It was just faking up that spirituality and that wisdom. In that moment, I understood that was a magical moment for me. This is who Deepa is. All I just need is to be and hold that space for myself and for others, in which we facilitate Psyche and the wisdom is revealed. That was the most magical moment for me, and I never looked back. I don't work with any other process and modality, and this I say with due respect, because Lizzie, each one of us, we have our own paths, our own readiness. As Rob would always say, that Psyche is not for everybody, and it doesn't mean that everybody cannot learn this process, but it's a very empowering process. If you still want to be a victim, if you still want to do a lot of catharsis and analysis, maybe not. But if you are done with everything, and instead of asking, why me, you want to ask this self, what do I want instead? Rather than asking why this has happened to me, and ask, but what do I want instead? How do I want to feel instead? What do I want to believe instead? And then you want to have your powers. Psyche is for those people. And that's exactly was my magical moment. I can never forget that. For me, the journey is that may I be that isumatek not only while I'm facilitating or teaching Psyche. Again, isumatek means having that awareness that you are that divine being, having a spiritual and human experience. There's no separation. You are absolutely the divine and a spiritual vibration experiencing this. And when you understand it from that aspect, a lot of suffering goes. I can only talk about myself. I genuinely am very content, and I'm saying it like out loud, like on record, that if somebody asks me that, are you very content and satisfied with your life? Yes, I am. It doesn't mean that I don't have aspirations and things, because the day I understood that all suffering is when you think you are a human being, then why did you say this to me? The expectation, judgments, validations, insecurities. And the moment I change the seat on the table from this chair to the other chair, I am a spiritual being. So how can you hurt me? How can you make me feel less? How can you judge me? No, no, no. You're just maybe reflecting your pain, and it's not about me. It's about your pain. You need to work with yourself, and I can inspire you. So my suffering vanished, because I don't suffer because there are no judgments and expectations. I hold the space for myself. When I hold the space for myself, from where the suffering comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just went on to a different tangent because Isumatek, and that's a very true story. And I'm again and again saying out loud, no, I don't suffer, because suffering comes from your limiting perception. Suffering comes from your conditionings. Suffering comes from complaining. Suffering comes from judgments. But when you have all the power, you change everything. Then where is the suffering?
Yeah, again, another famous quote from yoga is that, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. And
Absolutely.
we don't have to suffer. We don't have to
Yeah.
It's a choice, and it's a valid choice. You can choose
Absolutely.
one or do something else.
Beautiful.
And I love this about Psyche. It is so empowering. You mentioned the story of the Sumatek, and it's my story as well. When I learned that word in our room in Dubai at the Hub of Consciousness, and I heard the word, learned the meaning, and then also learned its origins.
Yeah.
The complete homecoming moment to me, because
Yeah.
my journey of exploring this wide world started with me going to British Columbia, Canada for my teaching placement in a First Nation and Inuit tribal. And the word Sumatek is an Inuit word. And so when that full circle moment came, I was like, I'm home. This is exactly that. Like, it was so grounded. It was so, yep, that absolutely makes sense. Like your story, I had a similar experience of this is exactly what I do. And it made it okay for me. Like, it gave me permission to be a space holder and that be enough. Where before I didn't think that was enough. I didn't think that was like valid enough, that I had more or like helping or something.
Absolutely.
And then realizing that holding the space is perfect.
Absolutely. And as how Rob Williams would say, and as how I feel, that we are, I'm still a shaman, because nothing changed for me. But yes, when I chose to work with Psyche, because I wanted to expand and be more expansive in my version of serving, I did not need to battle with everybody's personal beliefs, because Psyche is not religious, Psyche is not cultural. It's a super beautiful science rooted in ancient wisdom. So shamanism was usually like, oh, but you have those wings and you have feathers and you need to do drum and you need to drink some substance. There are perceptions. So I know we are all modern shamans. You are, I am. It is exactly the same thing we are doing in a more simpler, easy, effective way, not contradicting into anybody's beliefs. See, I'm the first one to bring Psyche to UAE. And Psyche doesn't come in the way of anybody's religious beliefs, or whether whichever belief God you believe in. It's it's simple, super easy. So I still feel that we are shamans without drumming or without drinking substances, and still being on a journey of diving deep into the power of the subconscious mind, exploring the different alternate realities, which is other than the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind, and getting all the inner wisdom and integrating it in our own life. That's what shaman does.
Exactly. It's the bridge between worlds.
Exactly. So for me, it was beautiful because I again had a transition and understood that's what the universe has chosen for me. And it was so effortless for me. And when the universe had already chosen, Psyche had already chosen, it was, it's an out and out honor for me uh, to uh, to be in this space where I can serve so much. Yes, for me, Psyche is not my profession. I have even outgrown that feeling of that, oh, I do what I love and it's my passion. It's neither my passion, it's not my profession. It is who I am. This is the way I express Deepa. And this is the way I express that oneness. This is for me a learning to absolutely be in oneness with my own self. So for me, even this conversation and what we are, exchanging, it's not rehearsed, we've not prepared for it, and we both know we can just like go on and on with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm.
Yeah. Psyche has just been a really transformational journey and a way of being, like you said,
Mhm.
because it integrates truly into life. And the thing that I love most about Psyche is that it's the empowerment piece, especially when it comes to taking the action steps.
Yeah.
This really has been a shifter for me because
Yeah.
I also have learned many modalities. I have tons of certificates,
Yeah.
all sorts
Yes.
of things, and
Yes.
all beautiful, of course.
Yes.
And again, wherever the person's level of consciousness is at, what they're ready for,
100%.
requires us to be the co-creators of our lives, and that is taking the action. And I always tell this story because it's so funny to me about how it's so simple, make such a big deal out of things. When I came for the advanced facilitation,
Mm-hmm. Could be. Yeah.
I don't remember which one exactly, but this was a very big juncture in my life when I was getting ready
Mm.
to take the leap and say bye to my teaching career that I've been doing for 17 years. And I made it my action step on 2 of the things to sign no on my contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so the time was coming for that, and I got my contract, and my task was to sign no on the contract. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember sitting on my couch, signing no, and then being like, well, I did that. That was so like what I
Yeah.
made such a big deal out of like no, like signing that no. And it was taking that small action step. But then of course the next logical move was to hand in the no. But it's so funny how we make such a big deal out of little action steps that
Yeah.
over time, they just amount to the lives that we create for ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's having that uh commitment to self
100%.
I
100%.
do this thing, and I'm doing it because I know how powerful I am as the co-creator. And when I take my action step, I'm signaling to the universe, yo,
Absolutely.
here I go. I'm taking a
100%.
step. And then the universe cannot help but to match that frequency and help us co-create the life we truly desire. And so
Absolutely.
that has been huge for me. And I
Yeah.
really, you can take action steps whether you're doing Psych-K or not.
Yeah. So it's again coming onto the action thing, because it's a very integral part, and it's a very spiritual conversation also. It's we are so conditioned to give it everything to others and not take the accountability and responsibility. And this is just being hardwired in us. Whenever we are in trouble or there is a challenge, we always look out rather than looking within. And for me, this was this was another magical moment, when we talked about actions when we work with Psyche. So in my school, when I was a child, there used to be a quote written on the wall which would say, God help themselves. God help those who help themselves. Yeah. So God help those who help themselves. And I absolutely understood what does it mean, because you always have to take the first step. You always need to be in that space that I take the accountability and responsibility of changing my life. And then the higher power, or whatever you may call it, God, divine, they match with the frequency. Okay, so let's just like go on that tangent. They match with the frequency. But by and large, we are so used to getting fixed, getting healed, blaming, giving all responsibility to others. It doesn't happen like that. Psyche very, very clearly is a process where we do create a lot of potential in the subconscious mind, and then we align it with the conscious mind in a way of, if the belief is changed, then your behavior is changed, then there are actions which you can do differently. So just go and see it for yourself. But if you just go home and sleep and do not take any actions, even the potential the subconscious mind has created, oh, it's going to go. So for me, it is actually literally God help those who help themselves. For me, the self-transformational work, taking accountability and taking responsibility of knowing who you are, cannot be equated with anything.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Mhm.
empowering piece, of course.
Yes.
So, touched on this a little bit throughout our conversation, but I'd like to hear as clearly as you can surmise it. How do you personally define success now? And how has that definition evolved as you've grown?
Super beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Now, success is a perception, Lizzie, and we all perceive it differently, and there are no rights and wrong, because perception is a perception. How I perceive a success, again going back to a story, I'm a shaman, I'm a storyteller. Yeah. So once I thought that I'm on a journey and I've gained enough wisdom, and again I was sitting with one of my teacher master, and he asked me, okay, so how do you want to take this journey forward? And I took a paper and I wrote, this is what I want to do. I want to have an NGO. I want to start therapy clinic, and I want to do all this. I want to work with animals. I want la, 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 la. So a big list of how I want to create impact, or how I want to create or make a difference in the world. And I just gave that paper to him, thinking that my collars are going to be up high and he's going to be so proud of me. Oh my God, what beautiful agenda of achieving success I have in my life right now. And then he took that paper and he just tore that off. And he said, do you call this success? Or do you call this is what you want to achieve? And I was like, Zoom, And he just like literally looked into my eyes and he was like, Deepa, if you walk this earth like a peaceful, integrated human being, you have served enough to yourself and to others. That stayed with me forever. Whatever I do, I'm the founder of Hub of Consciousness. I'm very grateful to bring this kind of awareness and consciousness to this part of the world. I facilitate PSYCH-K. I'm a PSYCH-K instructor. These are all the beautiful outcomes of my being, the gifts from the universe. But how do I perceive success personally is, before I sleep, Lizzie, every night I ask this question to myself: how peaceful I am, how integrated I am. And if the answer is yes, that's success for me. And that's exactly what I do. And that's how I define success, because being rich, famous is different than being wealthy and successful. You can be rich, famous, and still have got so much to battle with. But being wealthy and successful means you're overflowing with everything, inclusive of money. It is our birthright to be wealthy, to use all the goodies of this beautiful world. And being spiritual and being conscious doesn't mean that you give in to not living this life beautifully, everything with awareness. Yeah. And for me, peace and integrity, and my own journey with that oneness, because I know, if you remember, one of the questions, although we are completely not on the questions which we had in the format, but there was a question which I really loved, and I smiled that, how do you play these roles, as an instructor or, as a mother? So I had that. So I'm just going to combine it. For me, the success is I don't play any role, Lizzie. What I teach in the class, I practice in my own personal life. These are the kind of conversations I have with my two beautiful kids. And these are the kind of conversations I have with my friends. I don't have taking off a hat and wearing a hat. That is what is success for me. Absolutely dissolving the illusion of separation. I don't have that stress. Oh my God, I have a podcast with Lizzie. I have to be something else. Oh my God, I have to sit with my daughter. I have to be something else. I have a call with my son. I have to be something else. Absolute oneness. So for me, that is only one divine Deepa. that's what actually, me and Ducho is, the director of PSYCH-K, and is a great friend and a beautiful human being. So once we were sitting, and this was the outcome. So since then, for it's like OODDD. So it is like only one dear divine Deepa. That's what is success for me. That I don't have to go through this struggle and stress of changing roles. That is how I perceive success very clearly.
Thank you for stating it so clearly and for making that just so simple. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, that integrity piece, embodiment and integrity is really the path that, since I've chosen to align my life, and a lot of it to really gain momentum when I started learning and working with PSYCH-K, it's been so much to just take off all the masks, to decondition, to not have to be somebody that I'm not in any circumstance. And it's been so interesting to witness all the ways we compartmentalize ourselves in life, and for these ideas that you have to play a role. And I was like, what? Why am I playing any of these roles? I am simply me. And that's what I love to be. Like, I don't show up differently in one place or another. And when I'm asked to, or when people try to give you their perspectives and how you should be. So, I mean, I guess it works for you. And if you want to do it that way, go ahead. And I'm just going to keep being me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that leads us to the definition of, because it took me a lot of time to understand what is being authentic. Yeah. So for me, this is the definition of authenticity: when your intent, your thought, your word, your action is aligned.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
you're not thinking something else and saying something else and doing something else and having a different intention, oh my God, it is so it is so much of work. It's how do people do that? It's so much of struggle. It's like, for me, it's like, what do I forget if this and that? So no masks, no labels.
Yeah.
You are just living that oneness, and that is what is success, how I perceive for myself.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to know if you could go back and talk to your younger self. What wisdom would you share with her?
And I have done that. I've gone back to my younger self, because of course, like many stories, each one of us, we have our fair share of challenges, but it's not about blaming parents, it's not about blaming circumstances. One very beautiful thing, even again, I learned with Psyche is, it's not about who did what to do and when did it happen. It's all about taking responsibility and accountability. And when I go to my younger self, the only wisdom I share to her is, you did not know any better at that time, and I fully embrace you, who you are and who you were. I'm a parent to you now. So the responsibility, what I expected my father to be in a different way or my mother to be in a different way, they did not know any better. All parents are the most beautiful parents, and sometimes when we have those unresolved issues with them, I always go back to my younger self, not anymore, because I did, and I embrace that I love you and I am a parent to you. So I take responsibility of you from this moment onwards. And this is a journey. So no resentment. Uh, Sometimes I used to think, I wish, because when I turned 40 and I really started to enjoy being in my 40s, and I would always say, oh my gosh, I wish I knew all this when I was younger. And then I realized, no, that was very beautiful, because that made me who I am today. So I created oneness and peace there also. So only oneness. Again, going back to that, to my younger self, we are one.
And then looking the other direction, even though it's, of course, going to be more of oneness,
Mhm.
what question would you ask your future self or your more expanded version if you could go there now and ask?
Yeah. Okay. So I probably will not ask a question, but how would I how would I refer to that is that I would always want to be aware of this present moment. I would never want to be out of this presence-ness. I'm not a very futuristic person, Lizzie, in general. I get lost in the present moment. So it's tricky for me, that what would I say to my future self? So probably, or what would I ask to my future self? I would probably ask and say that, continue to be in the present moment, and that will lead you wherever it has to.
Perfect. That is a
Yeah.
perfect answer. Yes. The present moment is all we've got anyway, so might as well
Yes.
stay present.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you for you, what does it mean to live a fulfilling or satisfying life?
I've already said that, but it's once again where I'm authentic and where I walk my talk and where I am not separating myself into many roles or anything. When I'm living my true essence, and I know the definition of my true essence is when I'm that fragrant that others feel powerful in my presence.
Yes, living your purpose.
Yeah, that's my purpose. That in my presence, you feel empowered. In my presence, you're being able to smell not my fragrance, your fragrance. When my fragrance becomes a catalyst and activates your own fragrance, it's not about my perfume. You have yours.
Yeah, that there's a quote to loosely paraphrase it, that like your purpose is not something you do. It's what you activate in others when you simply be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying here. So
It's not about going gaga. Oh my God, you smell so good. It's about like, oh my God, I smell so good.
ooh, what's that smell? Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear any final message or inspiration that you would like to leave with our Hearts Home audience, and just take it away. Share with us.
Yes. So the final message is because, of course, I do see a lot of pain, suffering, challenges because when I facilitate, and my heart breaks because all those sufferings, challenges, problems, by and large, come from that one super belief, which is, am I a human being or am I a spiritual being? You are not this bone, blood, and flesh. You are way bigger than that. Energy, frequency, vibration. So, my final message is when you perceive yourself as a spiritual being, and even if, let's not talk about spirituality, and if you want to have another word about it, that when you know that you are this powerful energy, frequency, vibration, know that that's who you are. The suffering vanishes, the suffering dissolves. So just by changing one super belief that I am a human being or I am a vibrational being or I am a spiritual being, whatever you may call it, the game changes.
Thank you. That's
Or and by asking this wonderful question, who am I? Am I, and it's the same thing, bringing it to 3D. Who am I? I am this stack of beliefs given to me by society, culture, parents, by all that, or I'm somebody beyond that. And you can make the choice. Who do you want to be instead? What do you want to do instead? How do you want to feel instead? How do you want to perceive instead? These are the only choices we need to make, and the game changes.
yes. I wanted to just touch on that because so often, and I mean, I know I'm guilty of this in my own life, that we're so good at identifying what we don't want. But
Exactly.
we identify what we do want, it can be challenging sometimes because we actually haven't been given that space,
Absolutely.
haven't allowed ourselves that
Absolutely.
space to explore. And it's one of the things that I do with all of my clients and even my friends. It's like, okay, but imagine you could just dream big. What would that big dream be? And so many people just go, I don't know, because they haven't actually taken the time to get curious enough to explore what would that be like. And so
Absolutely.
based on what you said, based on this idea, just if you don't know, what do you want instead, spend some time with
Absolutely.
judgment, without shame, without blame, without guilt. Write it down in a journal, and nobody has to see that but you. But
True.
get so curious and just allow yourself to dream beyond that
Yeah.
you've ever
Yeah.
achieved, and you'll see the magic and miracles unfold in your life.
Absolutely. On that, I just had this again, a magical experience yesterday, not yesterday, day before, in a session. this girl who traveled specially for a psyche session, and she had a very beautiful experience, and she wanted to have another little deeper session, and it was about relationships, and it was about back and forth, that not being able to have a committed partner, and not being able to have and this is the word she did not use, it was all about betrayal, and it was all about cheating, and it was all about that. And while she was in the process of that $1 million question, as facilitators, we ask, so what do you want instead? And she was continuously saying, I don't want my partners to betray me. I don't want my partners to cheat me. And I kept on asking her that, but what do you want instead? How do you want it instead? I did not even use the word committed. And Lizzie, 17 minutes, and she burst into tears. But I don't want him to cheat me. I don't want him to betray me. I don't want him to be continuously putting me down. And then, Deepa, I don't know. I don't know. And I was, no, you have all the power in you. And I just gave out a little clue, and I used the word. And I said, is it that you want to have a partner who's honest and committed? She says, oh my God, loyal. I want to have a loyal partner.
Yeah.
And she made a goal statement, I have a loyal partner, and that's it.
Simple.
Oh my God. And she was like, for heaven's sake, do not have even, I know it, but this is not a part of my subconscious mind vocabulary. Only what she knows is betrayal, dishonesty, pain, hurt, because we are never given that space. What do we want instead? And the subconscious mind, unless, again, going back to the science of the subconscious mind, for the subconscious mind, what you do not want doesn't translate as what do you want instead. Yeah. So you need to be super clear.
Yep. The language matters.
Yeah.
I always say this example because I was teaching for many, many years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you tell a little kid, don't run down the hall, all they hear is run down the hall.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The negatives are not absorbed by the subconscious mind. It doesn't.
101%. Yeah. 101%. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So I would love for you to share, what are you working on? This is your opportunity to do a not so humble brag. You're doing in this world. Share with us about the hub of consciousness. Please share.
With my own self, yes, absolutely, Lizzie. Hub of Consciousness is a platform where we invite others to come the way they are. It's a beautiful Rumi quote, come as you are. You don't need to have any preparation, and everybody is ready for a different way. So, of course, at Hub of Consciousness, there are different processes and modalities they work with, and they do different things. And I'm the founder of that, but I only work with Psych-K, but people choose how do they want to work with. Yeah. And the message is going even loud and clear that more we come into our powers and more we are not conditioned that the transformational work is very difficult. It's very hard. It's a walk up steep. It's not that. And that is something what, of course, we are expanding, and we are very grateful for that's happening. I work with animals, and I foster a lot of these small pets, dogs and cats. And one of the beautiful way I could do it, because of course with Psyche, I learned that we can work with Psyche with something we call it where we can work with animals. I'm not going to use that word. We can work with plants. We can work with even those people who are old and who are not in a physical condition to work with. There's a very beautiful link up we can do, and we can work with that. So it is my dream to work more and more with animals, because they do not have that language to tell us, but the language of the heart and the oneness is same. So that is I'm working with. And on the top of all that, I'm continuously working with my own awareness. I'm continuously working how I am more and more aware with my own self. I am on a journey of self-realization. I'm not sure whether in this lifetime I want to know about any God or any higher power, but I'm dedicating all my time to know who am I and what do I want instead, and how do I serve others. And that takes all my time, and my hands are full. And on the top of it, for me, I'm a parent and I'm a single mother. And I always say, because I do a lot of work with relationships, your kids don't need your preaching. They need to see you who you are. The best gift you can give it to your children is your integrated, authentic self. If you are stressed, they are stressed. If you are struggling, they are struggling. If you have the beliefs about lack and scarcity, they have. If you do not know how to hold yourself in difficult times, they don't know. So again, there's always a suggestion to parents that let's not work with them. Let's work with our own selves.
Absolutely.
And it just goes to them. So I keep myself very busy. I work with myself every day with psyche balances, that because I know at a drop of a hat, somebody around in the home will tell me, "Oh, mom, but you said stress is a perception and it can be transformed."
Yep.
Yeah, and there is a reminder. Yes, definitely stress, fears, they're all perceptions, and perceptions can be transformed. It's very easy. So for me, it's like that. Yeah, yes. So I need to transform the perception of stress, because we all get stress. Life is a beautiful series of experiences. There's a lot which has happened with me also in this past 2 years, but thank you very much for all the learning and the unlearning and the inner wisdom and the psyche balances, that I was very aware, and I am very aware that everything is an experience. And how do I integrate myself with this experience and just do the work, transform, perceive differently? So my hands are full, Lizzie.
They're beautifully full, and you're
Yeah.
beautiful service to this world. So thank you for that. Thank you for what who you be. So if people want to connect with you, of course, I'll leave the information in the show notes below. But the best way to get in touch with you, how people can find you and see what you're all about.
Absolutely. So the best way people can connect with us is hubofconsciousness.com. So, and deepaarora.com. So, deepaarora.com will have all the information about Psyche, and Hub of Consciousness is a platform. You can book a session with me. You can inquire about the workshop. I breathe Psyche. I live Psyche. I walk with Psyche. And it's a beautiful space. You can come experience it physically. It's in Dubai. So it's easy. We are on Instagram. It's called hubofconsciousness.com, and it's Deepa Arora 24. I have an Instagram handle. We are there. Yeah.
Show notes below so that people can easily connect with you.
Absolutely.
But you know, sometimes when people are listening, they're like, "I'm just going to bank that one in my head," and so that's why I always like to say it out
Thank
loud.
you very much. Thank you. That's all is the 3D information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last little piece here. What if now that you are holding the cosmic baton, if you could pass forward this cosmic baton infused with your own essence, your own words, your own gift, whatever messages that you want to share and send forth to the next person who will be an episode guest for Conscious Conversations, let us hear from you what you want to pass on.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for that. And it comes in a form of a beautiful quote by beloved Rumi, and I'm just going to explain it to it how it has come to me right now. The quote is, which is a direct message to all of us, inclusive of me, each one of us. Be like a melting snow. Wash yourself of yourself. Be like a melting snow. Wash yourself of yourself. The snow may seem rigid, hard surface, but then when there is a light, when there is sun shining, it has a capability of melting. So melt all those limiting beliefs, all those limiting perceptions, all those fears. Have this analogy of that if even the hardest of the snow can melt with the warmth of the sun, all of us, we can melt. And when we are melting, we flow, we rush and gush like a flowing water, and we can do that.
Thank you. That's so beautiful.
Yes. And again, it's oneness. The water has the snow in itself, and the snow has the water in itself. The drop has the ocean in itself, and the ocean has the drops in itself. Who is the wave and who is the ocean? It's all oneness.
Absolutely.
You're not that limited.
No.
We are very expensive. Yeah.
So good. So honestly, this has been just such an uplifting conversation. It has fueled my soul. It has, just allowed me to sit in this essence of the truth that you transmit. And I'm so grateful that you're here to share what you do and to help other people realize that it is possible simply and easily and effectively by reperceiving your reality. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. Pleasure is all mine. I feel honored and privileged to have this conversation with you. And again, you're shining so bright, and I feel that it's your light I feel lit into. And thank you very much for shining so bright. And once again, I'm super proud of you. It has been such a beautiful conversation. I don't know whether what questions were they, what we prepared, what we did not. We were just like going here and there, but it was very heartfelt. It was truly heart's home. And continue to do this great work. And I love you so much. And see you very, very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lizzie. Ciao. Bye-bye.